Your AV receiver isn't making your home theater better. It might be making it worse. So why does your expensive system still sound muddy, weak, and nothing like a real cinema? Today, I'll show you the 3 hidden AVR settings that instantly improve dialogue, bass, and surround sound without spending another dollar. Like the video and subscribe for honest soundbar reviews that help you buy smarter. Comment. Make sure to tell me what the next video should be about. And check the description for best prices and product links. The speaker size, myth that's hurting your home theater. If you've ever run your AV receiver's automatic speaker calibration, there's a good chance it detected your large floor-standing speakers and set them to large. At first glance, that sounds perfectly logical. Big speakers should be set to large, right? After all, that's literally what they are. Unfortunately, this is one of the biggest misunderstandings in home theater, and it's responsible for disappointing sound in thousands of systems. In reality, the large and small settings have almost nothing to do with the physical size of your speakers. Inside an AV receiver, the speaker size setting is actually part of something called bass management. Think of your receiver as a traffic controller. It decides which speaker should reproduce which frequencies. When a speaker is set to small, the receiver sends the deep bass to your powered subwoofer while allowing the speaker to focus on the mid-range and treble. When a speaker is set to large, the receiver sends the entire frequency range, including deep bass, directly to that speaker. The names are misleading because they're describing signal routing, not speaker dimensions. So why is this important? Because producing deep bass requires a tremendous amount of amplifier power. Movie explosions, earthquakes, and low-frequency effects demand far more energy than dialogue or background music. If your receiver is trying to send that deep bass to every large speaker in the room, its internal amplifiers have to work much harder. As volume increases, the receiver has less clean power available for everything else, which can reduce clarity and make the entire system sound strained. A powered subwoofer, on the other hand, has its own dedicated amplifier built specifically for that job. Even if you own expensive tower speakers capable of producing impressive bass, a good subwoofer is almost always better at reproducing the lowest frequencies found in modern movie soundtracks. The dedicated LFE channel, also known as the .1, in a 5.1 or 7.1 system, contains powerful low-frequency effects that many main speakers simply can't reproduce as effortlessly as a quality subwoofer. Letting the subwoofer handle those frequencies allows your front speakers to perform more efficiently while delivering cleaner vocals, wider dynamics, and better overall detail. There's another benefit that many people never consider. Deep bass interacts with your room more than any other part of the audio spectrum. When both your tower speakers and your subwoofer are producing the same low frequencies, their sound waves can interfere with each other, creating boomy bass in some seats and weak bass in others. Proper bass management reduces these problems by giving one specialized speaker, the subwoofer, the responsibility for handling deep bass. The result is tighter, smoother, and more consistent performance throughout the room. So here's the simple rule that professional home theater installers follow. If your system includes a powered subwoofer, set every speaker to small, including your floor, standing towers. It sounds backwards, but it's the correct way to configure almost every modern surround sound system. The only major exception is if you don't own a subwoofer. In that situation, your front speakers should remain set to large because they have to reproduce the full frequency range on their own. The 80 Hz crossover rule most people get wrong. Now that you've set all of your speakers to small, there's one more setting that determines how your system handles bass, the crossover frequency. This is one of the most important settings in your entire receiver, yet it's also one of the most misunderstood. Many people simply accept whatever number the automatic calibration chooses and never look at it again. Unfortunately, auto-calibration often creates a mixture of different crossover values that isn't always ideal for a balanced home theater. Think of the crossover as a relay race. At one specific frequency, your main speakers pass the bass to your subwoofer. Everything above the crossover goes to your speakers, while everything below it is redirected to the subwoofer. If that handoff happens smoothly, your system sounds like one unified speaker system. If the crossover is poorly chosen, you may notice weak bass, boomy bass, or gaps in the sound that make movies feel less immersive. This is why 80 Hz has become the industry standard. It's the crossover frequency recommended by THX and used as the starting point in countless professional home theater installations. At around 80 Hz, bass becomes much harder for our ears to locate. That means your subwoofer can reproduce those low frequencies without drawing attention to its physical location. Instead of hearing bass from the corner of your room, it feels like it's naturally coming from the action on the screen. Another reason 80 Hz works so well is that it reduces the workload on your speakers. Most bookshelf speakers, center channels, and even many tower speakers perform much more cleanly when they don't have to reproduce the deepest bass frequencies. By allowing the subwoofer to handle everything below 80 Hz, your receiver, speakers, and subwoofer each focus on the range they reproduce best. The result is cleaner dialogue, tighter bass, and greater overall dynamics during demanding movie scenes. That doesn't mean 80 Hz is a universal rule for every speaker. If you're using very small satellite speakers, they may struggle below 100 Hz or even 120 Hz. In that case, raising the crossover protects the speakers and improves overall performance. On the other hand, if your automatic calibration recommends increasing the crossover above 80 Hz, that's usually fine. What you should avoid is lowering the crossover below what the receiver measured, because asking a speaker to play frequencies it can't reproduce comfortably usually creates more problems than it solves. The best approach is simple. Go into your receiver's speaker or crossover menu after running room calibration. If your speakers are capable, start with 80 Hz for every channel. If your receiver measured a speaker at 90 Hz, 100 Hz, or 120 Hz, leave it there or increase it if necessary, but don't reduce it below the measured value. This gives you a clean, seamless transition between your speakers and subwoofer while following the same bass management principles used in professional home theater systems. Turn off these smart audio features first. Once you've fixed your speaker size and crossover settings, there's one final mistake that can completely change how your system sounds. Modern AV receivers are packed with smart audio features that promise deeper bass, louder dialogue, and a more exciting listening experience. Names like dynamic EQ, dynamic volume, adaptive DRC, YPOW volume, and night mode sound impressive, but many people leave them enabled without understanding what they're actually doing. Let's start with dynamic EQ. This feature constantly changes your sound based on the volume level. As you lower the master volume, it automatically boosts bass, surround channels, and sometimes high frequencies to compensate for the way human hearing works at lower listening levels. While the idea is technically valid, the effect can often become too aggressive. Bass becomes heavier than intended, surround effects become exaggerated, and the original movie mix is no longer being reproduced accurately. The second feature is dynamic volume, sometimes called adaptive DRC or night mode, depending on your receiver brand. Instead of changing the EQ, this feature compresses the dynamic range of the soundtrack. Quiet dialogue becomes louder, while loud explosions become quieter. It's useful if you're watching late at night and don't want to disturb anyone, but for normal movie watching it removes much of the excitement that makes cinema sound so immersive. For the best overall performance, your receiver should reproduce the soundtrack exactly as it was mixed in the studio. That means your room correction system, such as Odyssey, Dirac Live, YPAO, or MCAC, should remain enabled because it corrects your room acoustics. However, the extra processing features that constantly modify bass levels and dynamic range should usually be turned off. This gives you a clean, balanced reference sound instead of one that's being adjusted every second. If you're using a Denon or Marantz receiver, go into the Odyssey menu and disable dynamic EQ and dynamic volume while leaving Multi-QXT or Multi-QXT32 enabled. Yamaha owners should turn off YPAO volume and adaptive DRC. Pioneer, Onkyo, Sony, and other brands offer similar options under names like loudness, night mode, or dynamic range control. The exact names vary, but the goal remains the same. Remove unnecessary processing and let your room correction do the real work. Once these features are disabled, spend a few minutes listening to a movie scene you know well. Most people immediately notice tighter bass, cleaner dialogue, and a much more natural soundstage. If you later need quieter late-night listening, you can always enable night mode temporarily. But for everyday movies, gaming, and serious home theater sessions, keeping these smart enhancements turned off usually delivers the most accurate and enjoyable experience. The final conclusion. After making these 3 changes, your AV receiver will finally be working the way it was designed to. First, setting every speaker to small allows proper bass management, sending deep bass to the subwoofer instead of forcing your main speakers to struggle with low frequencies. Second, using a consistent 80 Hz crossover creates a smooth transition between your speakers and subwoofer, giving you tighter, more balanced bass throughout the room. The third adjustment is just as important, turning off unnecessary processing features like dynamic EQ, dynamic volume, adaptive DRC, or similar smart enhancements lets your receiver reproduce the soundtrack naturally. Instead of constantly changing the audio, your system delivers the mix exactly as it was intended, while your room correction software continues to optimize the sound for your listening space. The best part is that none of these improvements require new speakers, a more expensive receiver, or additional accessories. You're simply unlocking performance that's already built into your equipment. Many people spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars upgrading hardware when a few minutes inside the receiver settings can produce a bigger improvement than buying new gear. Remember that auto-calibration is only the starting point, not the final setup. It does an excellent job measuring your room, but it doesn't always make the best decisions for speaker size, crossover frequencies, or audio processing. Taking manual control of these settings gives you a cleaner, more balanced, and far more cinematic home theater experience. Now, it's your turn. Open your receiver's setup menu and check these 3 settings. Are your speakers still set to large? Is your crossover scattered across different frequencies? Are dynamic EQ or dynamic volume still enabled? Make the changes, watch one of your favorite movie scenes again, and compare the difference for yourself. If this guide helped you improve your home theater, don't forget to subscribe for more practical AV receiver, soundbar, and home theater setup guides. Also, leave a comment below and tell me which receiver you're using and which of these settings made the biggest difference. Your experience could help someone else get better sound without spending another dollar.